On the night of our wedding anniversary, John Wilson excused himself by saying he had company business and left early. I didn't stop him. An hour later, photos of him kissing his first love spread across all media. The caption read, "Thank you for fulfilling my youthful dream." The next evening, on social platforms, the hashtag Emily Brown Get Out of Wilson Family surged to the top of the trending charts. My assistant David Smith's calls flooded my phone. Emily Brown. All investors are demanding to withdraw their funds. Our stocks have been suspended. I set down the dragon head ring I was toying with and picked up another phone. Issue the order. I want John's company to have all logistics severed by dawn. Emily Brown. Shenchi's PR department. Mr. Wilson. And the board. Their calls are pouring in. David's voice came through the receiver, trembling uncontrollably. They're all asking. All asking. Asking what? Asking if you're going to completely sever ties with the Wilson family. Emily Brown. 3 of our funding chains have been frozen by the Wilson family's partner banks. If this continues, I cut him off. David. Why panic? I walked to the liquor cabinet and poured a glass of whiskey. No ice. Issue another directive. Notify everyone that all Hutchison-branded docks, fleets, and warehouses from the ports inland will begin inventory and maintenance checks tonight. The reason is fire safety inspection. David on the other end held his breath for a moment. Emily Brown. This will halt about 80% of Wilson Tech's shipments. Then halt them. Yes. Emily Brown. David replied immediately, not daring to ask another word. I hung up. Took a sip of the liquor. The burning liquid scorching my throat. 10 minutes later, financial news alerts popped up one after another on my phone screen. Wilson Tech logistics chain suspected of total blockade. Hundreds of containers stranded at ports. Hutchison subsidiaries undergo full overhaul. Multiple companies affected. The news featured an aerial photo. Trucks bearing the Wilson Tech logo formed a miles-long red snake on several main roads leading to the ports. My private phone lit up. The caller ID showing John. I let it ring for half a minute before leisurely answering. Emily Brown. The background noise was chaotic car horns blaring. People shouting. The complete mess. You hired someone to screw me over. Over one photo. You'd go this far. I held my glass and walked to the floor-to-ceiling window. Downstairs. His black Bentley had screeched to a halt. He burst out of the car. I watched him pace frantically below, roaring into his phone. John. I'm just helping you save face. What do you mean? Otherwise. Tomorrow's headline wouldn't be just logistics disruption. It'd be about Wilson Tech CEO having 6 key engineers detained at the Lisboa Casino VIP room in Macau last night. The line suddenly went quiet. Only his ragged breathing grew heavier. After a few seconds, he seemed to have moved to a secluded corner. Did you use people from home? His voice was low, each word laced with warning. Emily Brown. I'm warning you. Don't splash that filthy nonsense onto my business. I laughed. John Wilson. Your company's first startup capital only got bank approval because my father signed for it. That first $10 million deal you landed, I had Robert Johnson bring the client right to you. You're operating on my turf. So you play by my rules. I dialed a number on another phone. Robert Johnson. Get those technicians back. Find some scenic spot. Treat them to good food and drinks. Block their phone signals. Don't let them report progress to the boss. Emily. How dare you? John's roar exploded from the phone. I hung up immediately. Almost at the same moment, David Smith sent a new message. Emily. That Sophia Lee just posted on social media. I clicked the link. A line of manipulative words popped up. The deeper the love, the deeper it must be buried in your heart. You've found your soulmate. I wish you true happiness. It was paired with her selfie, eyes red and puffy. The comments were already flooded with cries of "Protect our Sophia." My heart aches for Sophia. She's loving too humbly. The wife shouldn't be so harsh. Is already blessing you. What more do you want? Emily is pure evil. No wonder John doesn't like her. I shut off my phone and tossed it onto the sofa. I picked up the landline on the coffee table and dialed Robert's direct line. Robert. He's probably on his way up. Start the operation. Bang. A loud crash as the door was kicked open from outside. The door panel slammed against the wall, bounced back, and hung loose. John stood in the doorway, a button missing from his suit jacket. Tie askew. Eyes bloodshot. Behind him were two men, his VP and tech director, both looking frazzled. Emily. John charged in and slammed a stack of printed financial reports onto the coffee table before me. All offline channels are shut down. The supply chain is completely broken. And every key tech is off the grid. He jabbed a finger at my face, voice raw with rage. Is this your handiwork? Did you wreck my company over your pitiful jealousy? I slowly lifted my head, my gaze skimming his twisted, angry face. John Wilson, have you forgotten? The land you're standing on. This mansion under your feet, it belongs to the Brown family, not the Wilson family. John's face went from flushed to ghostly pale. His VP, probably trying to prove loyalty, piped up bravely. John's just doing what's best for the company. Business schmoozing is unavoidable. Ms. Brown, as his wife, you should show more understanding instead of stabbing him in the back. I turned, my eyes locking onto the VP's face. Understand him ditching our anniversary to celebrate another woman's birthday. Understand him hugging someone else and going viral online. Then making me his wife. Field calls from the board. Still making excuses for him. A vice president earning $1 million a year. And his head's full of mush. He pays you a salary. Not dog food to make you his lapdog. The vice president's face instantly flushed crimson. His lips trembling. Unable to utter a word. Enough. John Wilson shoved the blocking vice president aside and roared at me. That was business entertainment. A necessary act. Sophia Lee can bring me billions in investments. What about you? What can you bring me? All you do is use that shady family influence of yours to cause trouble. What else are you good for? Don't use business entertainment as your cover-up, I said. Looking at him, treating dirty deeds as victories and flaunting your affair like a medal you're one of a kind. You're completely unreasonable. John lost all control, raising his hand to slap my face. I sidestepped and kicked straight at his knee with my right foot. John lost his balance, crashing down and kneeling before me. I bent over, bringing my face close to his raised palm. I tapped my cheek with a fingertip. Hit here. Put some force into it. John's eyes were bloodshot with rage. He tried to stand, but his right leg wouldn't obey, sending him tumbling back down in a humiliating heap. John, you can't even stand steady now. I straightened up, looking down at him. Who gave you the nerve to lay a hand on me? John, do you really think Emily Brown is easy to push around? Just then, footsteps sounded at the door. Robert appeared silently at the living room entrance with 4 men in black suits. Their arrival instantly chilled the air in the room. Robert's gaze swept over the mess before landing on John. He gave a slight bow. Mr. Wilson, our late master instructed. No loud noises in the mansion. And absolutely no laying hands on Miss Brown. Emily, just you wait. You'll pay for this. He was dragged out by 2 bodyguards, still shouting defiant curses. David Smith called again, his voice now brimming with excitement. Emily, it's done. Word from the port. The batch of chips Wilson family's tech division stockpiled in the warehouse for Europe got held up due to fire safety inspections. That shipment is worth $300 million. And they signed a high-stakes agreement if delivery is delayed. Wilson family has to pay triple the penalty. $900 million. I swirled the wine in my glass. Not enough. Not enough to cripple him yet. Emily, what do you mean? Keep going, I said. Have those uncles following us spread the word. Say that I, Emily Brown, am preparing to split from the Wilson family. All the industries under my name, including Hutchison's. will be completely stripped from the Wilson family's holdings. David Smith gasped. Emily. Once this news breaks, the Wilson family's stock price will collapse completely. That's exactly what I want. Half an hour later, John Wilson's father, William Davis, the chairman of the Wilson family group, arrived. He didn't bring bodyguards. Only two sharp-looking lawyers. As soon as he entered, he sat down on the sofa with an imposing air, wearing a well-fitted traditional Chinese buttoned jacket, his face filled with arrogance. I'm here. So let's be clear. Immediately call off your people and stop all your little tricks. Then, hold a press conference in your name, saying the logistics disruption was a system glitch and the technicians are on a company-arranged group vacation. He picked up the teacup in front of him without even glancing at me. The Wilson family's reputation can't be ruined by a clueless woman like you, William. I finally spoke up. It's not me ruining the Wilson family's reputation, it's your son who can't control his urges. On our anniversary, he went to meet his lover, causing a huge scandal all over the city. I didn't make him disappear from this industry outright, which is already giving your Wilson family plenty of face. William Davis paused mid-sip. He looked up, a cold glint flashing in his murky yet shrewd eyes. What do you want? Money, or shares in the Wilson family? Name your price, and as long as it's not excessive, I can satisfy you. He treated this as a bargaining transaction. I laughed. I picked up the cup of cold water and splashed it on the carpet by his feet. The water stain quickly spread, forming a dark blotch. William, the first, don't want anything. I met his scrutinizing gaze. Speaking word by word, I want you to give me an explanation. William Davis snorted as if he'd heard the biggest joke. Emily Brown, are you still dreaming? In Hong Kong, in the rules of business, what our Wilson family says is the rule. His tone dripped with contempt as he ruthlessly exposed my past. Don't forget, your Brown family has long been in decline. It's just an empty shell now. Those outdated shops and connections your father left behind are ancient history. If it weren't for our Wilson family propping you up openly and secretly over the years, your docks and fleets would have been swallowed up without a trace. He set down the teacup, pulled a document from the briefcase of the lawyer beside him, and slammed it on the table. It was a divorce agreement. 1 hour. He held up a finger, delivering an ultimatum. If I don't see your public apology statement within an hour, this divorce agreement takes effect immediately. You'll leave with nothing, and I'll make sure every media outlet in all of Hong Kong knows that it was your improper conduct during the marriage, cheating on John behind his back, that forced our Wilson family to kick you out. This was a blatant threat and frame-up. Robert's face changed, and he stepped forward, about to say something. I raised my hand to stop him. I looked at William Davis and smiled. William, do you think that with the Luo family fallen, I, Emily Brown, am just a soft persimmon you can squeeze at will? Your biggest mistake was treating me like a pretty ornament who needs to cling to the Wilson family to survive. But I'm not. Do you really think the Luo family has only that much power? William's face darkened completely. He gave me a deep look, then turned and stormed off with his lawyer. Robert picked up the divorce agreement, his brow furrowed tightly. Emily, the Wilson family's legal connections are deeply entrenched. If they're determined to smear us, it could be very difficult to handle. I took the agreement from his hands, tore it in half casually, and tossed it into the trash. Legal connections. I patted Robert on the shoulder. Then let's show them how the underworld really plays. Robert, notify all the uncles. Tonight at 10. We're holding a meeting. Tell them I, Emily Brown, am taking charge today. Less than an hour later, Sophia Lee started a live stream on her personal account. The title was, I'm sorry, I just want to live. In the video, she wore oversized hospital pajamas, sitting on a hospital bed with thick bandages wrapped around her wrist. Her face was deathly pale, devoid of color. I didn't know things would turn out like this. She faced the camera, her eyes red and swollen, her voice choked with sobs. John Wilson. John just pitied me, seeing how hard it was for me to make it alone in Hong Kong. So he helped me a few times. Emily, if you have any grievances, direct them at me. I beg you. Please don't make things hard for John anymore. His company. It really is his life's work. The live chat comments exploded instantly. Help. Was she driven to attempt suicide by cutting her wrist? Emily Brown is too cruel. That poisonous woman. John should divorce her fast. Marrying a woman like that is the worst luck in the world. Heartbroken for my Sophia. Hugs to our Sophia. You did nothing wrong. The wave of public slander washed over me completely at that moment. Robert stood behind me, watching the live stream on the tablet. His face grim. Emily. Should I get someone to? No need. I said, turning off the stream and switching to a financial news channel. Let her act. The more convincingly she performs, the harder she'll fall. The next second, a celebrity gossip blogger with millions of followers directly posted a set of high-definition comparison photos. The first image showed Sophia's bandaged wrist from the live stream. The second was a photo taken half an hour earlier in the parking lot of a private clinic, where she was wearing the same hospital pajamas, chatting and laughing with her assistant while carrying the Hermes bag. Her wrist was completely smooth, with delicate skin and no sign of any injury. The so-called hospital room was exposed as a VIP suite at that private clinic, reserved for high-paying guests at $88,000 a day. The trending topics exploded instantly, each hashtag more sarcastic than the last. Sophia Lee playing the victim for show Best Actress of the Year. Sophia Lee nothing but air under the bandage before the Wilson family's PR team could even react. My informants released the second bombshell. Sophia Lee had spent the past year leveraging John Wilson's connections to snatch 3 top-tier brand endorsement contracts and several major roles in big-budget film and TV productions from other artists at the same agency. For one of those roles, the originally cast actress, depressed after having her opportunity stolen, committed suicide. John Wilson's phone rang again, and as soon as I answered, a deafening roar blasted through. Emily Brown. Do you have to be so ruthless? Sophia is just a young girl who just debuted. She knows nothing. Are you proud of yourself for using such underhanded tactics to ruin her? I held the phone away, waiting for him to finish shouting. John, in your mind, are you and Sophia some kind of chosen ones who've suffered endless injustice? Every time she sheds a tear, it's because I forced it. Every time she lies and puts on an act, it's because I caused it. Then what am I? This affair you two personally saddled me with. Do I have to kneel down and applaud your true love? Right now. Go comfort her fragile, glass-like heart in her hospital room. Oh. And remind her to make the props more realistic next time she acts, so she doesn't treat the audience like fools. As soon as I finished speaking, I hung up without giving him any chance to retort. A few minutes later, the official account of the Wilson Family's corporation issued a strongly worded announcement. Effective immediately, the Wilson Family's corporation will formally sue Ms. Emily Brown for malicious defamation, unfair business competition, and other offenses, pursuing all legal liabilities. Immediately after, several banks friendly with the Wilson family sent me asset freezing notices almost simultaneously. Robert hurried into the study with a stack of freshly faxed documents, his voice more grave than ever. Miss, all the openly held assets of our companies and the cash flow in our bank accounts have been completely frozen. John Wilson's text message arrived, brimming with Victor's smugness. I'll send people to reclaim the mansion tomorrow. I've already unilaterally submitted the divorce papers to the court. Emily Brown, if you don't get out now, I'll have the police escort you out. I read the message and suddenly laughed softly under my breath, ignoring it. He must have been thoroughly provoked by my attitude. In less than half an hour, the mansion's front door was forcibly broken open by a group of people. John Wilson stormed into my living room, leading lawyers and 2 bailiffs. John Wilson stood menacingly in the center of the living room with the bailiffs and lawyers. Emily Brown, you refuse to take the easy way out. He pointed at me, his face openly triumphant. This mansion is under the Wilson family's name. Get out now. Immediately, I sat calmly in the armchair, leisurely holding a teacup, not even lifting an eyelid. John, have you done so much business that you've forgotten the most basic property law? My voice was soft but clear to everyone present. Open your eyes wide and see clearly. The deed and property certificate for this mansion have never been under the Wilson family's name. It's registered under the Luo family's assets, as my Luo family's dowry. It was only ever lent to the Wilson family to live in. Now, I don't want to lend it anymore. John Wilson froze completely. His arrogant father had clearly never told him about this. His lawyer frantically flipped through files from the briefcase, growing paler and breaking into a cold sweat on his forehead. John Wilson refused to believe it. Or didn't want to. He screamed at me. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. My dad paid for this mansion. Your dad paid for it. I stood up, looking down at him, the mockery deepening at the corner of my mouth. What he bought was the right to use this mansion for 30 years, not the ownership. If you don't believe it, have the lawyer beside you carefully examine the last page of the contract. It clearly states that the final interpretation right belongs to me. I took a step forward, my presence completely overpowering his. So, John Wilson, you're now bringing outsiders and trespassing into my private property. Tell me, shouldn't I call the police and report you for trespassing? The 2 bailiffs exchanged glances, clearly realizing this was a complex family and property dispute, and involuntarily took a step back, distancing themselves from John. Emily Brown. John was furious, his face turning bright red, his finger trembling as he pointed at me. You just wait. I'll settle this score 10-fold, 100-fold. Sooner or later, I'll make sure you can't even get a bite to eat in Hong Kong. I gently raised my hand, the teacup landing steadily on the table, the porcelain making a crisp, pleasant sound. Fine. I'm waiting. I turned to Robert Johnson, my voice calm again. Robert Johnson, see the guests out. And by the way, tell Mr. Wilson that next time he comes to someone else's house as a guest, remember to ring the doorbell. Otherwise, the few dogs I keep in the yard have bad tempers and don't recognize people. Robert waved his hand. 4 men in black who had been standing guard by the door immediately stepped forward. John was half dragged out of the gate. At 10 o'clock in the evening, at the I Society headquarters, a large rosewood round table was filled with people. All were old brothers who had followed my father for decades. The elders of the I Society. I sat in the main seat, the position of the leader, which had been empty for 3 years. Robert stood behind me. I placed the leader's ring in the center of the table. Elders, tonight I've invited you all for just one thing. I looked around. Everyone's eyes focused on me. There was scrutiny, doubt, and also anticipation. Thomas Miller, the eldest elder in the society, sitting on my left, leaned on his cane and spoke slowly. Emily, we know you've been wronged. That boy from the Wilson family is indeed a piece of work. But is it an overreaction to mobilize the entire I Society's industry lines over such a family matter? These past few days, the port has been in chaos, and many brothers who depend on us for their livelihood have complaints. James Taylor opposite him immediately slammed the table. Thomas, you can't say that. That boy from the Wilson family isn't just slapping Emily's face. He's slapping the entire I Society's face. Back in the day, if it weren't for the boss reputation keeping them in check, what would the Wilson family amount to? Now that the boss is gone, they dare to bully the boss daughter like this. Can we tolerate this? For a moment, the hall buzzed with discussion, splitting into 2 factions. I didn't speak, listening quietly. When they had argued enough, I raised my hand and lightly tapped the table. The hall instantly fell silent. Thomas. James. What you both say makes sense. But today, I'm not here to discuss with everyone. I stood up, picked up the leader's ring from the table, and slowly put it back on my ring finger. I'm here to notify everyone. Before my father passed away, he gave me this ring, entrusting the entire I society to me. From today on, I, Emily, am the leader of the I society. My decisions are the decisions of the I society. I looked at Thomas, his cloudy eyes flickering with complex emotions. Thomas. The first, know what you're worried about. You fear that I'm young and impulsive. That it'll lead the brothers down the wrong path. I took a document from Robert Johnson's hand and pushed it to the center of the table. These are a few small businesses I've run over the past 2 years. Behind the Wilson family's back. 3 emerald ore veins in South America. Diamond mining rights in 2 African countries. And a custom jewelry order for European royalty. The profits are 3 times what Harmony's current industries bring in combined. The entire room was stunned. Thomas Miller picked up the document, his hand trembling slightly. After reading it, he passed it to the person beside him for review. Everyone's expression shifted from doubt to shock as they examined the file. I spoke again, my voice soft but firm. Elders, my father's era is over. Clutching onto this tiny patch of land in Hong Kong will only lead to being devoured whole sooner or later. I want the entire Hui to follow me and take our business global. And the Wilson family is the first head I, Emily Brown, will use as a sacrifice to the flag. Thomas Miller let out a long sigh, stood up, and bowed deeply to me. Welcome, leader. In an instant, everyone in the hall rose to their feet and shouted in unison. Welcome, leader. I want the Wilson family to collapse completely. The person on the phone was Alex Turner, John Wilson's biggest business rival. And also the most mysterious arms dealer with overseas connections. We met at a private club that wasn't open to the public. He looked younger and more dangerous than the rumors suggested. Without any preamble, he slid a document across the table. These are the passes for all the overseas channels I control, along with my contracts for exclusive mining rights in 3 South American countries. The terms he offered were enough to drive any businessman mad. Whatever you want, I can give it to you. His purpose was clear. He lifted his eyes, those deep, bottomless pupils gleaming with the shrewdness and ambition unique to a dealmaker. I have only one condition. I want all the patents for that core technology in John's hands. Plus every future order he's signed with the mainland officials. I smiled, my thumb unconsciously rubbing the dragon head ring on my ring finger. Alex, your appetite is truly enormous. To become a king, you need the readiness and appetite to swallow everything. He picked up the whiskey glass on the table, the amber liquid swirling gently at his fingertips. Emily. He leaned forward slightly. Now it's your turn to prove to me that you're worth such a big gamble. I stood up and pulled out an accounting book. Alex's gaze fixed on it. What is this? All the dirty deals John made from starting from scratch to today are in here. I sat back down, leaning against the chair. Records of him embezzling public funds to bribe officials early on. The fraudulent contracts he cooked up to swallow state assets for his IPO. I paused, looking at him, and uttered the deadliest bargaining chip word by word. All the details of the life he covered up behind earning his first fortune. This stuff is enough to make him, and the entire Wilson family behind him, rot in prison, for the first time. A clear ripple of emotion crossed Alex's eyes. He reached out but didn't open it immediately. Just stared at that seemingly ordinary book. This. How did you get it? I picked up my glass of wine and took a small sip. My father's rule. For every person doing business on our turf, we must keep a ledger for them. For emergencies. Alex Turner tapped the black ledger cover with his knuckle, producing a dull sound. He looked up at me again, a hint of admiration in his eyes. Emily Brown, you've hidden yourself so well. At exactly midnight, Wilson family's overseas backup server for their tech company was silently breached. An encrypted top-secret file was simultaneously sent to Interpol and tax authorities in several countries. My private phone rang again. It was John Wilson calling from detention. "Emily, are you crazy?" "You're really crazy." I stood by the floor-to-ceiling window, watching Robert Johnson's people downstairs fully take over security at Wilson family's headquarters. "No, I'm not crazy. I'm just cleaning house." The Wilson family reacted quickly, spending money to release a PR statement claiming the evidence was fabricated. But within 10 minutes, Alex's multinational legal team directly sent a legally binding notarized report to all major global media outlets. The report's conclusion was just one sentence: "The entire chain of evidence is completely true, and we are willing to bear full legal responsibility for it." Public opinion exploded. Physical attacks and public opinion attacks were carried out simultaneously. Almost at the same time the legal notice was sent. John's secret suburban data center storing core data caught fire unexpectedly. When the fire trucks arrived, flames were shooting into the sky. All his unbacked-up core business data and technical materials were destroyed in the fire. The contents of that black ledger were anonymously exposed on major financial forums at a rate of 1 page per hour by Alex's team. Each page was a piece of evidence sufficient to doom the Wilson family. Authorities quickly intervened. Within 24 hours, a joint investigation team officially entered Wilson family's group. Photos of John being handcuffed and taken from the group building became headlines on all news websites. That so-called first love Sophia Lee was also taken away for investigation on suspicion of money laundering and massive tax evasion. A reporter captured her in the police station's underground garage, held by 2 female officers. She was hysterically crying. "It's not my business. I know nothing." Wilson family's stock price hit the lower limit for over 10 consecutive sessions, and its market value evaporated overnight. Alex took advantage to acquire all of Wilson family's relatively good assets and technology patents at the lowest price. William Davis' hair turned white overnight. He brought the deed to the Wilson family ancestral home and personally came to beg me. Robert stopped him outside the gate, not even letting him enter the main door. I watched through the surveillance screen as that once arrogant old man now stood humbly in the wind, his back hunched. I picked up the intercom, and my voice came out through the gate's speaker. "William Davis, when you forced me to sign the divorce agreement with nothing, did you ever think there would be a day like this?" The divorce procedures went smoothly. John signed it in prison, and everything under his name was transferred to my account as compensation. The day before he was to be transferred to a maximum security prison, I visited him, separated by thick bulletproof glass. He wore a gray prison uniform, his hair shaved to a crew cut. "Why?" His voice was hoarse, staring at me intently. "We were so in love." I looked at his face, familiar yet strange. "From the day you betrayed me, I took back all my love for you. I can't tolerate betrayal. For those who betray me, I show no mercy." I spoke slowly, drawing the final period on everything between us. "To me now, you're just a piece of trash I personally disposed of." I raised my hand, showing him the dragon head ring on my ring finger. "However, I still have to thank you for your betrayal." I turned and left without looking back at him again. Alex Turner was leaning against the side waiting for me. He didn't have tacky flowers in his hand, only a printed new cooperation agreement. "The South American market has been completely secured." He opened the car door for me in a calm tone. I got into the car and took the agreement. "Good. Next step. Europe." The car drove smoothly into the distance, leaving the gray prison and all the ruins inside it far behind. 5 years later, John Wilson was released early due to good behavior in prison. This news was mentioned casually by Robert Johnson while reporting work to me in passing. I didn't react much. Miss. Former Wilson family president John is said to be driving for a ride-sharing service in a third-tier city in the mainland. due to poor service attitude. He has been complained about multiple times by passengers. And his driver's license is almost revoked. My life has no further intersection with him. In summer, I and Alex brought our respective elite teams, chartered a plane, and held an annual strategy meeting on an island in the South Pacific. On the way to the airport, while waiting at a red light, a shabby roadside car wash flashed by outside the car window. A figure hunched over was struggling to hold a high-pressure water gun, washing a large truck covered in mud. Water splashed all over him. But he didn't seem to notice. It was John. Alex in the driver's seat turned his head and glanced out the window. "Should we stop?" he asked me in a low voice. I withdrew my gaze and looked back at the traffic light ahead. It had just turned from red to green. I stepped on the accelerator. Green light. Let's catch the plane. The car smoothly merged into the crowded traffic and sped towards the airport.